Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Old Guy Firewood is the name of my channel. My name's Dick, and if you've been here before, I really appreciate it. If you're coming the first time, I appreciate that too. Please go ahead and subscribe and like this video and share it with your friends. But today we're going to talk about a vintage Husqvarna chainsaw. It's the first Husky I bought back in 1978. It's 44 years old, and I've been commenting on one of Woodruff Woods videos a few days ago, and Darren from Woodruff Woods, and by the way, that's a great channel. You need to visit it if you haven't already. I mentioned that I had a saw that was 44 years old, a Husky, and he's a Husky guy, and he said, man, that would be great if you could do a video on that, and if it ran and cut, that'd be even better. So that's what we're going to look at today. And as I say, it's the old Chevy Ford debate between the Steel and Husky guys. And you got Dan and Back 40 Firewood, and Brad at Firewood at the Furnace, and several others that are Steel guys. And we always have that friendly ribbon back and forth. But I'm going to show you a real saw from back in the day. So hang on. Okay, guys, here it is. Husqvarna L65 that I bought brand new back in 1978. Husky came out with two saws about the same time, the L65 and the L77. This was a 65 cubic inch saw, and the 77, I guess, was probably the L77 was probably a 77 cubic inch saw. But this is the one I got, and the first thing you'll notice on this saw and all saws from this era is that there was no chain brake. When that thing was started and running, that chain, if you hit the trigger, was going to go. So it didn't have the safety features of the newer saws. The other thing is that it had the gas and oil containers back here, gas on the top and oil on the bottom. There seemed to be a higher bar angle the way it sat too. It seemed to tip up more when it was sitting like that, whereas the newer saws seemed to sit down a little bit. The bar seems to sit down a little bit lower. But I had retired this saw several years ago, and kind of put it up on the shelf and hadn't run it. And then a few years ago, I pulled it down, put some gas in it, a little oil in it, and it cranked. And I cleaned it up as best I could, and then ended up sticking it back up on the shelf. So I really don't use it much anymore. As I said, I've got seven Husky saws total. The newest one is a 572 XP. Got a 359, two 50s, a 365, a 550 XP, and so I don't touch this one too much anymore. It's heavy. It's slower than the other saws, but it's got a ton of torque. So let's go ahead and put some gas and oil in this thing and see if we can't get it cranked. It's hard telling how much wood this saw has cut. As I said, I bought it in 1978. I was living in Georgia then, and my neighbor and I used to go out and cut some firewood on the weekends for our own use, and we sold a little bit too. And pretty much what we were cutting was pecan. And pecan wood, if you've ever cut any, is pretty tough stuff and pretty rough on a saw. But we cut, I don't know how many truckloads of wood back there when I lived in Georgia. And then when I moved to North Carolina in 1980, I started cutting a little bit of wood here. Cut primarily oak and hickory, maple, ash. But I know in North Carolina, the first year that I was cutting, I sold 145 pickup truckloads of wood that I cut with this saw, and had split it all by hand. And I did that for a few years, so it's cut a bunch of wood. Okay, we got some gas, some oil in here. And, you know, I'm not going to lie to you, I pulled this down off the shelf yesterday and put a little oil and gas in it, a little bit of gas anyway, and cranked it up. And it took about 5 pulls, but it's been sitting on the shelf for a couple years, 2-3 years. And it did start, so hopefully it'll start again today. Let's see. It's unbelievable. let's get over to the log here and we'll see if we can cut some wood. As I mentioned, this saw the RPMs on this saw are not as fast as the current models of saws, but it's got a lot of torque, and we'll see what it'll do on this big old oak log here. Keep this log balanced since it's on the forklift there, on the forks. Otherwise, if I cut too much off that end, it'll fall off. Well, guys, I had a lot of fun with that. I really enjoyed bringing this old saw out of retirement and cranking it up and running it for y'all. And it's amazing how well it still cuts after all it has cut and as old as it is. This saw actually has points in it. And I remember when I first moved to Durham, I went to a local Husky dealer and had them put a new set of points in it for me. And that's, gosh, 40 years ago. So at any rate, but you know, it got me to thinking. I think I'm gonna issue a challenge to some of my steel lovers out there. Dan, Back 40 Firewood, Brad, Firewood at the Furnace. The two guys I know like their steel saws, and the challenge I want to offer them is to have them get their 44-year-old steel chainsaws out and bring them out, and I'll bring mine, and we'll have a little contest and see who cuts better. So, wait a minute, that's not going to work. Those guys aren't even 44 years old. They weren't even born in 1978. Well, forget that plan. But anyway, it's all in good fun, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please go ahead and subscribe if you're not already, and look forward to seeing you on the next one. And as I always say, as an old guy, the best thing I can tell you is to keep moving. See you on the next one.